Hey, good afternoon, everyone. How we doing? Welcome to Yoga with Dave Rennie. That's me, number 59. Wow, fantastic stuff. Get really settled, and I'll tell you what we're going to do today. So we're going to keep it super, super chilled, and I want you to be super, super warm as you will go through this practice. So if you don't usually wear socks, and if you're ready to move the body a lot, then put on an extra top or something, because we're going to do a different style of yoga today. Sometimes we think about moving the body a lot, and we do sun salutations, and we're balancing, and we're twisting the body, and we do quite a lot of breath work. But today we're going to do a practice called Yin Yoga. And I'll talk you through what Yin Yoga is as we work through the practice. But basically what we'll be doing is we'll be holding the poses for a lot longer than we normally would. So anything between 3 and 5 minutes. So you might be like 3 and 5 minutes in a pose, but don't worry, the poses are going to be generally done on the floor. And then the idea here is to find your edge. So you don't want to look for too much, and you don't want to look for too little. So find your edge or play your edges. You want to find that engagement that is challenging, but it's not hurting you, or on the other side, it's not boring you, because if we're too much into a pose, then we have to back out and we start moving the muscles around, which we don't want to do. And if we're not in it enough, we're going, yeah, I'm not really doing anything here. So Yin Yoga has its roots in Chinese medicine instead of the Indian kind of tradition. So Chinese tradition, Indian tradition, and it's seen as a more restorative, therapeutic. It's a way to get deep into the muscle tissues, the fibers, the fascia, which is the webbing around the muscles. So it's very complementary for a more active yang style of yoga where we're moving the body more, but it's also very good if whatever other exercise that you do. So it could be that you walk a lot, or you run, or you cycle, or you do a lot of gardening, or you do other forms of keep fit, whatever it may be. Yin Yoga is going to be a beautiful addition to your practice. And remember, these are all recorded, so you can do them at any time of the day. One of the most challenging things about it is this, because the brain can sometimes be a little bit active. So use the breath as we move through the practice today, and you're going to be absolutely fine. And we've got a fire in the background today. Check that out. That's nice, isn't it? So I'm going to keep myself nice and warm. We're going to start with a little bit of pranayama. And pranayama is breathing. And we're going to use a breath rhythm called Nadi Shodhana, which is alternate nostril breathing. So make sure you're comfortable. I'm going to go back onto my mat. Got my little skin on here. It's not proper skin, by the way. It's only fake fur. And you're going to get nice and comfortable. Here we go. So if you've got a blanket and you want to place a blanket underneath your sit bones or your hips, then feel free to do that. So this Nadi Shodhana, it's alternate nostril breathing. It's beautiful for balancing the left and the right side of the brain. And we think about the right side as more activating and the left side is more calming. So this is a beautiful balance before we move into the physical postures. And then we'll do a little bit of breath retention as well, but we'll start nice and simple. So sit nice and tall. Let's just move the body a little bit here. Maybe you bring the hands over to the right, bring the hands over to the left. Little bit of twisting can feel good. Just keep this intuitive. Maybe you want to bring the arms up, push the palms up, maybe have a little move through the side of the body, maybe bring the body forward, have a little shiggle around here. Shiggle's a good word, isn't it? Get into the lower spine, maybe lean back a little bit. So anything you want to do here, just to bring a little bit of movement into the body, and then we're ready to find that stillness. So this is what we're going to do. Left hand will stay here, and then the right hand will come up. You're going to block off the right nostril with your thumb, and then the left nostril with your ring finger or your little finger, whatever feels good. I use my little finger, but some people like to use the ring finger. But I don't mind whatever fingers you use. It's your practice. So close the eyes here, or just keep the gaze soft. Sit nice and tall. Relax the shoulder blades down the back. Block off the right nostril. Take a deep inhale through the left. And then block off the left with a ring finger or little finger. Full exhale through the right. Inhale right. Close off right. Full exhale through the left. Inhale left. Close off left, switch, full exhale through the right. Inhale right. Close off right, full exhale through the left. And then we'll work with a slightly different rhythm. So inhale through the left for 3. So it's quite a sharp inhale. Pause the breath here for 9. So the breath is held, but be super relaxed. You don't kind of tense up through the face. Try and keep the face super, super relaxed. And then block off the left, exhale through the right for 6. Inhale through the right for 3. That's quite a sharp inhale. And then hold at the top for 9. And then block off right, exhale through the left for 6. Inhale left for 3. Hold at the top, pause. Notice what's going on in between the inhale and the exhale. Find your presence. Block off left, exhale through the right for 6. Inhale through the right for 3. Pause at the top. Close off right, exhale through the left for 6. Let's do one more round. Beautiful deep inhale through the left for 3. Pause at the top. Block off left, exhale through the left, the right for 6. Inhale through the right for 3. Pause at the top here for 9, final time. And then block off the right, exhale through the left for 6. And then you can just bring the right hand down to meet the left. Just breathe through both nostrils. Anything you need to do here, any little movements. And then eventually just come with the eyes open. Nice. And then just check in with your experience. Just see how you're feeling. Just notice any shifts or changes. So we're always taking this little inventory as we go through our yoga practice. You know, we're like, oh, how am I now? How am I now? How am I now? You're not kind of overthinking it. You're just gently paying attention. So that's our yoga practice. Pay attention to the breath, pay attention to the physical body. So little twist again. So inhale and then just twist over to the right. Don't have to go super far here. Just keep the chin in line with the chest. And then just swap over to the other side, to the left. And then just make that a little bit dynamic. So inhale to the right, exhale to the left. Inhale right, exhale left. Inhale right, exhale left. One more time. Inhale right, exhale left. Beautiful. And then come all the way back to center. So the first pose we're going to do, the first couple of poses will be down on our backs. Now, I might not do all of these poses with you because I'm going to read a little bit from my books and talk a little bit about Yin Yoga. So I'll get you into the postures and maybe I'll just sit and then I'll just talk you through it. So come to lie down on your backs. And remember, feel free to have a blanket or anything underneath. And then just hug your knees into your chest. Oh, it's nice practicing by this fire. I should do this more. Beautiful. Hugging the knees in, rolling out, rocking it out through the spine. And then lower both your legs down onto your mat. So both legs are straight down your mat. And then maybe just bring the feet nice and wide. Bring the palms up. Maybe let a nice big sigh out. In fact, let's do that. 3 releasing breaths. Nice deep inhale through the nose. Full exhale, sigh out through the mouth. Inhale nose. Exhale, mouth. Final time. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And then the first pose we're going to do is banana pose. Great name, isn't it? So zip the legs together so the legs are touching, and then bring the arms over the head. Let the arms fall behind the head. And then what you're going to do is your left hand is going to grab onto your right wrist. So left hand grabs onto your right wrist. Take an inhale to find some length, and then cross your right ankle over your left. So you just pick up the right ankle, cross it over your left, and then bring your arms to the top left, and then your legs to the bottom left. And then you create this half moon shape or banana shape. So now the feet are bottom left, arms are top left. Then you're feeling this stretch down the right-hand side of the body. So think about a banana. That's the shape you want to make. Let the head just fall down, and then breathe deeply here. Nice and gently. I'm going to come out of the posture, and hopefully you guys have found a nice, comfortable position. If you don't want to cross the legs, then feel free just to uncross them. It feels a little bit severe for some people. And if you don't want to cross the arms, then just uncross the arms, You don't have to do everything that I suggest. I'm just going to turn the comments on here. Nice. All right. And then come to your breath. So we think about the principles of Yin Yoga. And the first principle is we come into the pose to an appropriate depth. That's what I was talking about at the start. Then we hold for time and we resolve to remain still. So come into the pose, hold for time, resolve to remain still. Because every time we engage the muscles, that's not great for us. Then we start twitching and the muscles start engaging, but we want to find that relaxation. We're going to hold this side for 2 more complete minutes. So get really, really comfortable. And then I'll just read a little bit about Yin Yoga in general if you're not used to the practice. So it says the essence of Yin is yielding. Yang is about changing the world. Yin accepts the world for the way it is. Neither is better than the other. There are indeed times when it's appropriate and even necessary to change the world. As we've already observed, Yang is a quality much admired and modeled in our culture. We are taught at an early age to make something of ourselves, to change the world and leave our mark on it. And that's perfectly normal, but only for some of the time. However, we're rarely taught how to balance this quality with the quality of acceptance. We are not given the chance to learn how to not struggle and just allow things to unfold. Part of the Yin practice is learning to yield. So we think about yielding as in our physical postures, but also yielding in, spiritually, or don't be too worried when I say spiritually. I'm just thinking about a deeper connection with ourselves, that connection with ourselves, getting out of our heads and into our heart space. So yield as much as you can here. I'm going to carry that on in a moment. I'm going to come back into the pose with you guys just for the final few breaths on this side. And then we get the opportunity to swap and contrast and compare. So 2 more breaths. Nice deep inhale. Full exhale. And then 1 more time. Your deepest inhale. And your fullest exhale. And then really slowly come all the way back to center. Nice. And then with the arms still above. Now with the right hand, just catch hold of the left wrist and then cross your left ankle over your right ankle. Take a deep inhale to lengthen and then bring the feet to the bottom right and then the arms to the top right. And then you feel the stretch down the other side of the body. See how my head just drops down towards my right shoulder. But I'm feeling this really beautiful stretch down the left-hand side of my body. And then just come to the breath. So come into the pose, hold the pose, find your edge. Nice. And then just breathe here. Beautiful work, everyone. Maybe contrast how this side feels to the other side. And then same as the left-hand side, we're going to hold this for 2 more minutes from this moment. It says here, just carrying on about Yin Yoga, the philosophy is reflected well in a prayer which has uncertain roots. It's been circulating in the world for perhaps 100 years, and it speaks to the very challenge of balancing yin and yang. So it says the prayer is God, and if you don't like the word God, then think of it as higher power or great spirit. God, higher power, great spirit, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Grant me the courage to change the things I can change, and grant me the wisdom to know the difference. It's beautiful, isn't it? I'll read it again. God, higher power, or great spirit, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Grant me the courage to change the things I can change, and grant me the wisdom to know the difference. So it says, accepting the things we cannot change is the serenity of yin. The courage to change what needs to be changed is yang. Harmony or balance in life comes from having the wisdom to know the difference. The wisdom cannot be given to you or taught to you. It must be earned and learned through our own experience. Our first opportunity to gain the wisdom is to listen to your body. So go to the edge, or just at that point where you feel the engagement, and when and if the body opens and invites you to, you can go deeper, and then accept the invitation to go to the next edge. Once on this edge, pause and wait for the next opening. So we're always just moving really, really gently, and we're accepting where we are. It doesn't matter what this pose looks like. It's more about what it feels like. All right. We'll come back to that in a moment. Let's take 2 more rounds of breath. I will rejoin you for those 2 more delicious rounds. Breathe deeply into the side of the body. And then when you're ready, slowly come all the way back to center, and then sweep the arms up into the air. Bring the arms down by your hips. Bend one knee into your belly, bend the other knee into your belly, and then just wrap around the shins or the knees and just rock it out here. Make sure the spine feels nice and relaxed. The tailbone is really long. There's no tension here. And then the next pose, which is going to be a 3-minute pose, will be Reclined Cobbler. So this is nice and simple. You just bring the soles of the feet together, and then you just let the knees fall open. So the more you have the feet walked in towards your groins, the more that you will feel this right into the adductor muscles, which run in the inside of the hamstrings or the inside of the thighs. And if you bring the feet away like this more, like I'm doing, you feel it more into the hamstrings. So whatever your body needs, give it a little bit of love. And then anything you want to do with the arms, they can be here, and you can stretch them above the head. You can place the hands on the heart or on the belly, or one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly, or just have the hands here. And then try and resist again that any gripping, you yield, just let the pose just come into it in a way where you just feel the opening. If your hand's on the heart and you've got one hand on the belly, just be curious, feel how the body reacts to these more relaxing postures. Check in with the mind. If you find your mind is a little bit active, just anchor onto the breath or the sensations of the breath. And then just stay where you are. We're going to be here for another minute. So just carrying on with these little readings, it says, when you come into the pose, drop your expectations of how you should look in each of the poses. And something which I talk about a lot, do not worry what it looks like. there is a destructive myth buried deep inside the Western yoga practice. The myth is that we should achieve a model shape in each pose. That is, we should look like some model on the cover of a yoga magazine. To this end, we use our body to force ourselves into a required shape. To dislodge this myth, we should adopt the following mantra. We don't use our body to get into the pose. We use our pose to get into the body. So we just switch it around, and that can make a massive difference. I'll say it again. We don't use our body to get into a pose. We use the pose to get into our body. I like that one. Okay. Just take 2 more complete rounds of breath in this reclined cobbler pose. And then we're going to do 1 more pose down here on our backs before we move on to our fronts. Nice. From here, wherever you found your hands, place them on the outer thighs and then bring the knees together, lift the feet, hug the knees back into your chest. And then again, just rock it out a little bit. And then we're going to come into happy baby. So I'll give you choices here. And you want to keep your back kind of like flat on the floor. So you don't want to lift up like this. You don't want to be right up. So this sacrum wants to be flat. So you might need to go behind the back of the thighs. You can go around the toes with the 2 peace fingers. So you're here. Or you can go around the sides of the feet and make sure your head is relaxed on the floor like this. So I like to go around my toes and then widen the knees as much as you can without obviously straining. But you don't want to be here when you see this a lot where the knees are together. Open the legs out and then soften the tailbone down towards the floor. But yeah, it's a yin practice and we're talking about being still, but feel free just to rock it out a little bit. Rock on the spine. Breathe deeply. It can be a challenging posture, so don't worry, we're not going to hold it for 3 minutes. We'll be less than that. Nice. And then find some stillness. And this is the only yin pose where there's a little bit of yang. So you think about yang in the upper body because we're using the arms and you're activating into the triceps here. But then the lower body is really super relaxed. It might not feel it. It's not saying that all these postures are easy. Send the breath where it's needed. Maybe close the eyes, see if you can soften the jaw. It's a deep inner socket opener. Just 3 more breaths here. Deep inhale. Full exhale. Nice deep inhale. Your fullest exhale. And then final time, deep inhale. And a full exhale. And then really gently bring the knees together. You can feel a little bit tender after that, so make any movements into the body that feel good. And then you're going to bring the soles of the feet back down onto your mat and then walk them really wide. So when you have a look down, they're right on the edges of your mat, so they're wider than hip distance. Bring the arms out and then just drop the knees over to the right-hand side. So you just scissor in the legs. There's a big gap in between the feet. Inhale to center and then exhale, drop the knees over to the left. So there's your movement. Inhaling. Exhaling, maybe turn the head the opposite side to where the knees are dropping. Inhale to center. Exhale to the opposite side. Nice. A couple more times on either side. And then eventually come all the way back to center. Hug the knees back into the belly. And then just nice and simply, just roll over to your right side or whatever side you've got more room on. Push yourself up, and then we're going to come onto all fours. Nice, everyone. Beautiful work so far. Hopefully feeling quite chilled. We're going to do a toe stand. Again, we're not going to be here for long. So when you come up onto your toes, make sure you're not on the nail beds. You want to be right on the ball of each toe. So this can feel quite of a strain for a lot of people. Remember, it should never hurt. But if it's just challenging, it's probably going to be okay. You just bring the sit bones back onto the heels, and then we sit here. We'll just hold for a few breaths. You can grab hold of opposite elbows and really find length through the shoulders and relaxation through the shoulders, or you might just want to be here. If it feels too much for you here, excuse me, then you can just bring the hand down, and you're still getting a reasonable stretch here. Try and find length in the spine. So whatever feels good for you. Breathe deeply, feel it into the toes, into the bottoms of the feet. And take one more deep inhale, and then your fullest exhale. And then come onto all fours, and then just tap your feet out, because you'll probably feel that. You can feel a little bit, yeah. What does it feel like, Dave? Oh, it feels a little bit, yeah. All right, nice. Next pose is probably a lot of our favorites. It's child's pose. So split the knees, nice and wide. Have a look before you come into it. So the toes split, or the feet split, and the big toes are together. So I like to start here. You see, I've got this connection with my sit bones, but you don't have to. You might be lifted up a little bit higher. It's not a problem. And then lie all the way down onto the floor. If you've got some cushions and you want to support yourself with a cushion, then feel free. If you're lucky enough to have a bolster, place a bolster in between the legs and just lie down here onto your bolster. And then breathe really deeply here. So we're going to be here for a long hold, 5 whole minutes. So get really comfortable. I'm going to sit, and I'm just going to read a few affirmations for you. We'll have a little think about affirmations. So get really comfortable. And remember, with your child's pose, you can have the hands out in front. You can bring the hands by the feet. You've got loads and loads of options here. So if we think about our affirmations, and while we're in this long pose in child's pose, then affirmations, a lot of people think, you know what, that's not going to work with me. I'm too clever to kind of like believe in affirmations. And I read this one thing once, and it said something about the subconscious mind really eats up whatever you give it. So you just got to keep feeding the subconscious mind with information, and then eventually you will begin to believe it. And there's this idea that the woman that was saying it, she was saying that she'd wake up every morning, she'd put her hand on her heart, and she would say, I am love. And she said for the first few weeks she did it, it felt really ridiculous. But she said, I kept saying it to myself. And then eventually it became this really deep-rooted mantra. And it was really important to her that that's what she did in the morning. And then she began to believe it, because of course we're all love, aren't we? We all are, you know. It's just probably the mind that tells us we're not, or our history, or whatever it may be, that has told us we're less than we actually are. So here's some affirmations for you. And if you want me to share these with you at any point, I'm more than happy to share them on Facebook. Okay. We did these probably last year sometime, so you might have heard some of them before. And I'll say them, and then you just repeat to yourself while you're in this child's pose. We've still got 3 minutes here, so just about enough time. All right. I allow myself to slow down and enjoy life. That's a good one, isn't it? I like that one. I treat my body with love and respect. I'm willing to change and grow. I trust the timing of my life. I am at peace with the flow of life. I look in the mirror and I love what I see. So I'll read that one again. I look in the mirror and I love what I see. I trust my insight and my intuition. I inspire others by being myself. I am blessed, grateful, and abundant. I allow all parts of me to be expressed. I find balance between giving and receiving. So a lot of us are quite good at giving, aren't we? But receiving love is quite difficult for us. I value my own beliefs and opinions. I shift from competition to collaboration. I step into my power with confidence and grace. My self-esteem is growing day by day. Yeah, there's some nice ones there. And as I say, I will share them with you. If you want those to be shared on Facebook, let me know. Let's spend 3 more complete rounds of breath in this beautiful long child's pose. How often do we give ourselves this opportunity to spend this amount of time in child pose? And then really gently, in your own time, press yourself all the way up to a tabletop position. And sometimes you can feel a little bit tender. So maybe just move the spine from side to side. You can do some nice big hip circles. They can feel good. Nice. And then, I thought that sneeze was coming, excuse me. Come all the way back to all fours. And then we'll just move through cat and cow. So spread out through the fingers. Take a nice deep inhale, drop the belly down, lift your head and your heart. Exhale around your spine. So there's your movement. Inhale forward. Exhale around. Inhale forward. Exhale around. And then 3 more like that. Just in your own time. Inhale, tailbone elongates. Spine lengthens, head and the heart lift. Exhale, round the spine, separate the shoulders. 1 more. And then come all the way back to center. And then we're going to do a couple of stretches into our shoulders. So you're going to make sure that your knee and your hip are in one line. So you don't want to be here, and you don't want to be here. You want to be sort of there. This is the angle. And then we're going to do melting heart pose. So just walk the hands forward, and then you just come down where you're on your forehead, and then you're stretching the arms out. See, my arms are lifted. I'm not here with my forearms, but you can always do this if it feels too much in the shoulders. Some of you guys might be able to come onto the chin, but make sure you're not straining the back of the neck. Be really gentle. Maybe the forehead is good. Melt the heart center down towards the floor. And then just breathe really deeply here. If it feels too much in the shoulders, just do this. Walk them a little bit wider. Or find the sensation on the bite, the kind of the edge that works for you. And then just breathe really deeply. This is melting heart pose. Excuse me. Nice work, everyone. Just a little bit different today. Yin Yoga. Super, super relaxing. Nice. I'm going to come back into this pose with you guys. It's a really good opportunity to get deep in between the shoulders into the upper back. Stretching everything out, and a great opportunity to breathe very deeply here. Nice. Let's take 3 more rounds of breath in your own time. And then very, very gently, just lower yourself. So now you bring the forearms down, come to lie down on your front. Yeah. So now we're coming to Sphinx Pose. So this is when you've got a blanket underneath the body. It can feel really lovely. So walk the elbows back so they're stacked right underneath the shoulders. Really spread out through the fingers. Tops of the feet press into the floor. So the legs are somewhat engaged. So you're not kind of just like flopping everything down. And then press into the forearms, lift the head and the chest. Roll the shoulder blades back. And then you can be here with the head just in a neutral position. If it feels too much in the neck, just drop the chin down towards the floor. Whatever feels good for you. Breathe nice and deeply. So this is a stretch into the lumbar spine. Really good for you. Really good for the spine in general, but especially the lower spine. We sit for too long, a lot of us. So we kind of like begin to compress a lot of the vertebra down there. So this is a really nice way just to stretch everything back the other way. Feel free to close your eyes. Make sure your jaw is super, super soft. And just stay here for 3 more complete rounds of breath. And then when you're ready, just bring the hands on top of each other. So you stack the hands and then wing the elbows out really wide, and then just look to your right hand side and then just let everything melt down to the floor. No holding here, nothing to do, just totally relax. And then turn the head to the center and then look over to the left. Check in with your breath. Notice how your breath feels in your body. And then slowly bring the head all the way back to center. Stack your hands underneath your shoulders. Tuck your toes under, and then just press yourself nice and gently back to a seated position. And then we're just going to move a little bit through the neck. Remember, in these seated positions, and this is Sukhasana or easy pose, if you want to sit on something, feel free. And with this one, if you want to lean up against a wall, then you can do that as well. So you want to make sure the spine is nice and long. And we're going to move into the neck. So we're going to start with a few neck turns. So inhale the head to the left. And then exhale your head to the right. Inhaling left. Exhaling right. Really nice one to do with the eyes closed if you can. Inhaling. And exhaling. 2 more times either side. And then very gently inhale, come all the way back to center. And then a nice exhale. And then all you're going to do here is you're going to drop your right ear down to your right shoulder. So you might start with the chin quite low down, and then maybe lift the chin, and then see what that happens. I know when I do that, I lift my chin gently, then I'll really begin to feel it down the left-hand side of my neck. And then if you wanted to intensify it, you can lift up the right arm, place the right hand, just the palm of it, just over the left ear. You're not pulling here, you're just using the weight of the arm just to track the head down towards the right shoulder. So don't strain at all. It's really important not to do that. Nice. And then gently remove the hand if you had it lifted, and then move to the left. So just drop, first of all, the chin over or the ear over to the left shoulder. Maybe drop the chin down, maybe lift the chin up. You can have a little experiment. If you wanted to lift up the left hand, place it on the right ear. You get this nice opening through the chest as well, this broadness that you can breathe into. Connect that with your breath. Deep inhales, full exhales. Beautiful. When you're ready, slowly, if you have the hand on the ear, bring the left hand down, bring your head back to center, and then just drop your chin down towards your sternum, and then a little bit of movement through the back of the neck. Maybe just rock from side to side with the chin. Nice and gentle though. And then with the help of the right hand, place the palm of the right hand on your head, and then push your head all the way back to center, and then you can bring the right hand down to meet it. And then if your eyes are closed, you can come with the eyes open. Beautiful work, everyone. Really nice. Let's spend a little bit of time in Shavasana, the last couple of minutes of the class. Come down onto your backs, and then just get really, really comfortable. You might want to hug the knees in. I always like to do this first of all, then lengthen one leg, lengthen the other leg. Remember, if you wanted to bend into the knees, you can always place the soles of the feet on the floor. Knees can touch, and then the feet are wide. So this is one option. Or you're just lying down in a more traditional Shavasana. Any movements that feel good into the body, have a little wriggle through the shoulders, maybe a little wriggle through the toes, through the fingertips, and then surrender to this Shavasana. Relax completely. Let all of the amazing work you've done this afternoon integrate. And I'm going to read from Melody Beatty's Journey from the Heart. This is daily meditations on the path to freeing your soul. Nice. So this one's called Let the Lesson Reveal Itself to You. What's the next lesson? I asked. If you knew what it was, you wouldn't need to learn it, he said. Often in the midst of a lesson or experience, we tighten our minds into knots, trying to figure out what we're learning, what's coming next, what's the lesson, what's it really about. But if we knew what the lesson was about, we wouldn't need to be learning it. The learning we're doing on our spiritual path, our healing path, is often not possible from our heads or from books. It's a process of discovery. It includes many twists and turns and surprises and upsets, much confusion, wondering, stumbling, until we reach a moment of clarity. To reach the lesson, we need to go through the experience. And usually we learn best when we're a little bit vulnerable and uncertain about what we're learning. Trust that the lesson will reveal itself only in the time. Stay present for that moment. Let your experiences and guidance unfold. You're evolving and learning and growing right now. When the transformation is complete, you'll see what you've learned. Other people may be there to help us, to teach us, to guide us along our path, but the lesson to be learned is always ours. I really like that one. It's lovely reading. And then from here, just very gently, slowly, in your own time, just come back to your physical body. Bring a little bit of movement in through the fingers, through the toes, roll out through the ankles, your wrists, and then maybe hug your knees into your chest. And then eventually we will meet in a seated position where we started the class. But take your time getting there. There ain't no rush. And if you want to stay in Shavasana, please stay in Shavasana. Beautiful stuff. Really nice work this afternoon. Next week, we will get back to moving a little bit more, but sometimes that yielding and that yin can be a really lovely thing to do. And you can meld it into your practice. You know, it can be part of your self-care. You don't have to do 45 minutes of it. You can do like 3 or 4 poses, something like that before you go to bed. Ooh, that's nice. That's really nice. Lovely thing to do. All right. Bring your hands together at heart center. Sit nice and tall. Press your thumbs into your sternum. Beautiful work, everyone. Lower your head down towards your prayer. You might want to say namaste. Now think about namaste as the divinity in me salutes the divinity in you. And then this is the book that I read from, Melody Beatty's Journey to the Heart. It's a beautiful book. And it's well worn, isn't it now? My book's very well worn. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining this afternoon. It's always a pleasure to be part of the Royal Voluntary Service Virtual Village Hall. Thank you for hosting me. Thank you to you guys for coming along today on this lovely Thursday afternoon. I will be back next week, and I look forward to more yoga and such varied classes that we can do together. We can delve deep. We can go on the surface. There's so much that we can do together. All right, everyone. Namaste. Look after yourselves.